Imagine changing your entire selfie image with the click of a button. Want to look slimmer, prettier, even younger? 90% of teens today say they've posted selfies online where perfection is just a filter away. But some are taking the quest to even bigger extremes, striving to look airbrushed in real life. Here's ABC's Cecilia Vega.
This is how Americans are spending their time, taking pictures of themselves all day, every day. And like millions of people, think you look too fat? Try skinny pics. Dull skin or blemishes, Facetune can clear that right up.
I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there, and she was married. Then all of a sudden I see her, she's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look.
She's your girl's hot as shit, in the purple.
Automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy.
We talk about this all the time. I mean, we've developed a culture of bullying in so many ways. And I just want to thank you for the work that you've been doing with It Gets Better, because we need to start sending different messages to our kids. First of all, we need to let them know that it does get better, that the challenges they face for the few years that they're in high school or college, they can't let that eat them up, because all of these young people, regardless of their race, their sexual orientation, they are gifts to us, and they have so much to offer. And it's just terrible to find out that kids are letting this part of their life define everything about who they're going to be.
Well, the Times found a lot more. At least 8 settlements with women from as far back as 1990 and as recently as 2015.
You actually physically transformed for this role.
Yes, I did. They told me to lose weight. They told me to lose weight in the first one, too. Was that big of a deal? No, they want to hire 3/4 of me.
There was a hair commercial and it said every street is a runway, and I thought, oh Christ, like I can't walk down any street in New York, in my sweatpants. I mean, every street's a runway. What am I gonna do?
But what about the social pressure, just sort of looking the way that you think you should look, that the magazines tell you is perfect or beautiful? How did that play into it, Kimmy?
I think that the media is a huge thing. We're constantly bombarded with images of women that look perfect and they're thin, and then you have weight loss ads and they have a very thin woman in it already. And so you start to equate your self-worth with your weight and what you look like. And if you don't look like the women do in the magazines and on TV and the things that our society values, then your self-worth is less.
Real beauty is something that's been, the content of real beauty, the definition of real beauty is something that's been haunting me and bothering me for quite some time now. From how society views women, to how men treat women, to Hollywood, social media, how women are viewed and projected upon. I've been upset about that for a while now, and I've always wanted to do something about it, and this is me beginning to do something about it. I'm putting together this piece here so I can display what's important, or what I believe is important about women, and how we view them, and how we view real beauty, and what I believe real beauty is, which is who women are, not what they look like. Okay, I'm not saying you can't appreciate a beautiful woman. Of course you can, but that shouldn't be the number one priority. And it should be that way with anybody. You should, be about who people are rather than what they look like, and you should treat people based on how they are, not how they look. And so I believe society has put out the wrong priorities, as far as what's important and what kind of people are important, but to get back to real beauty, women are beautiful. Women, we would not exist without them, literally. They give birth to humankind. They create life. They grow life inside of them. They nurture life. just beginning, women, when they're about the right thing, are extraordinary. Thinking about my mother to my wife, courageous, adventurous, inspiring, loving, caring, hopeful, integrity, honesty, just name some of the qualities that I believe makes them beautiful. These are the things that I believe we need to appreciate and highlight about women in society and in our personal relationships, whether you have female friends or your spouse. It just utterly disgusts me how women are treated in society, generally speaking, from the workplace to relationships to friendships. We need to respect our women much, much more than they are. Not to get into current events too much, because that's not what this is about, but it is kind of what it's about, is with this Hollywood producer Weinstein abusing women for decades, sexually harassing women. And women feeling they can't speak out, because you notice how when one speaks out, others speaks out, because they feel, I can only imagine what they feel, as far as being honest and speaking out about sexual harassment and how they're treated. When you have a powerful man or any man doing something to them, I could imagine the fear they may face in speaking out and being judged. And if they're being taken seriously, or are they going to believe me, or how this is going to make me look, am I going to lose my job? Just a number of things that they shouldn't have to deal with. And as men, how dare we even put a woman in that kind of situation? So, like I said, anybody who knows me, who actually knows me, knows that I pride myself on how I interact with women. From my wife to my friendships to work. Honestly, being in the music industry, you'll deal with a lot of women and models and that sort of thing. And I've had, artists and people in that world, try to take advantage of women that I was working with or worked with, and I've always shut it down at the first sight of it. Like, that's not what I'm about. That's not going on here. I will not stand for that sort of behavior on any level. I treat women with respect, with honesty and integrity. And, when you treat people that way, you treat them just because it's right and what you need to do. But even when you treat women and people that way, you get to really see them flourish and be free in who they are. And you can just see a whole new world to open up of who they are and what they're about, and you can find out what kind of things they bring to the world, what kind of personality, ideas, thoughts, inspiration, just number of things that we can learn about women and what they contribute to society. So I want to show you, with this Real Beauty piece I'm putting together here, what I believe, what I believe is important, what I believe real beauty is, and, how we need to go about treating women in society.
I think that real beauty is depth. I think that it's way more than physical attraction. I think real beauty is a combination of how you feel. It's your spirit. It's how you make others feel. It's, what your heart looks like. It's, your confidence. It's your intellect. It's having a beautiful mind and a beautiful soul. I think that's what makes a person beautiful, because, we all know that as you get older, physical appearances fade, but you can never change the integrity of a good person.
On a day-to-day basis, I feel a lot of different pressures from a lot of different people. So I am a Muslim woman, so there's one pressure that society kind of puts on me to show everybody else around me that I'm not the picture of Islam that they see on the news. I'm not a terrorist. I am nice. I am just like them. I am just a normal American girl. And so that's one pressure that kind of is placed on me. Another pressure as a female physician would be, to kind of prove myself as worthy as any male physician. And another pressure is as an aspiring osteopathic physician, there's that pressure to prove myself to be just as great as any sort of MD or allopathic physician. So I constantly feel that I have to prove myself to others to show them that as a minority, I am just as qualified.
There are a lot of pressures that I feel on a day-to-day basis. We talk about intersectionality and, what it means to be, a Southerner, a Black person, a woman who works in a male-dominated industries. I'm an interesting cross-section of person. I look at the world and the people who have real problems, and I realize that I've been extremely blessed, and I feel like to whom much is given, much is required. And I think that I have a real calling to be a success in a variety of areas, to be an example and to give back. And the pressure to succeed in success as I define it is real, and mounting pressure just as a woman and as a 32-year-old, I have a pressure to be, snatched and beautiful and fit and all of the things that a woman should be, but also successful, also, prosperous, to rack up accolades, to have a successful relationship and, like a family before my eggs dry up. It's a lot of pressure. I wouldn't say that I'm upset about it, but if I were to be honest about myself, if I were to think about the level of anxiety and pressure that I've grown accustomed to the point that it just feels normal, all of those things play a role and it sort of run in the background for me on an everyday basis.
Right now, I just like to push myself. So what I have come to the realization is I'm most happy when I'm helping people, and I thought, well, what's a career that would make me happy? I obviously did art when I was younger, and I have like a really strained relationship with my biological dad. He's actually schizophrenic, and the only thing we have in common is art. So I thought, well, what can I bring those two things together? Well, I'm trying to get a psychology degree to where I can have my own business, where I could do art therapy with kids, because I love kids, and I used to work at an orphanage back in Austin. And that was when I was the most happiest. I used to do that every day of the week if I could, and just visit kids, and I used to teach art there. And I thought, what if I could do a program for people to do art therapy for kids, where it buys another inner city school kid to have a place where they can express themselves. If they don't like to talk or anything, they can have a place to express themselves. And then at night, I would love to have some people like my dad that have mental issues to where they can express themselves and we can have that whole bond. So in the end, once I get my degree, that's what I want to create, and I think that's really one of my main goals in life right now.
So I think that real beauty comes from within. A confident person, a person who is kind and loving. Growing up, I always really went by treat others as you would like to be treated. And I think that when we were in kindergarten, it was the golden rule. But my mom always instilled that in me. So even you can be to someone else not a very attractive person from the outside, but if you are a kind person, a loving person from the inside, the outside doesn't really matter so much. You can be beautiful just by the way you treat others, the showing love to anyone, because that's how we should treat each other.
When I think of beauty, I think of character. A beautiful heart is a beautiful person. A few of my goals in life are to be a good mother, a good person, and a good counselor. I think my beauty comes from within, and I have a really big heart, and I just want to see everybody happy and successful. One of the pressures that I deal with daily is trying to portray the image of being a strong, independent woman and not needing any assistance from anybody. But I've learned that everybody needs help. I think some of my greatest qualities are my honesty and loyalty to my family and friends, and my compassion for other people.
I think beauty is whatever the beholder perceives it to be. I think beauty is one of the most subjective topics on the face of the planet. So there is no one particular thing that it can be, or no set of words that can define it. It's whatever you want it to be. For me, personally, I find it in a lot of places. Nature, people, behaviors, attitudes, events. There's a lot of places to find words, music. So I feel like that question is kind of broad for me to answer, but the best way that I can define it is that it has no definition. It's completely subjective, and it is solely based on the perspective of the beholder.
think real beauty is being confident with who you are, whether it's how you look physically or how you mentally feel about yourself. When you express that confidence, it portrays an indescribable beauty that radiates from within you. The qualities and characteristics that make me proud of who I am are that I am a Muslim American woman that wears a hijab. The hijab makes me proud of who I am and where I'm originally from, which is Syria. The hijab makes me feel beautiful. I love meeting new people, and I don't feel weird talking about my culture or religion. I'm open to having difficult discussions as well so that people have a better and accurate understanding of me. My goals in life are to work hard to move up in status in my career. I want to prove that it's easy for a Muslim woman to have leadership roles at work. That way, I hope the new generation of Muslim women feel that they are capable of achieving the same thing, and we'll see a larger population of them in the future workforce. The pressures I feel on a day-to-day basis are having to prove the Muslim stereotype wrong. People have a preconceived notion towards Muslims, feeling that they are threatened by them. I'm constantly having to work hard to prove that I'm just like any other person living in America. I'm just a normal girl.
Real beauty to me is being happy with who you are, with how God made you, and not worrying about what society views as normal or what society views as beautiful. If you're happy with the skin you're in and you don't worry about how others view you, and you just love yourself, solely just love yourself, I think that is the most beautiful thing in the world. Society sometimes stereotype women and make you feel that you have to be a certain size or have to be a certain color to be quote unquote beautiful. But if you love the skin you're in and you don't care what people say and you just embrace yourself, I think that's the most beautiful thing in the world. Some of the stresses I've had in my life, I've gone through self-esteem issues, gone through why am I darker, why am I smaller, why wasn't I blessed to have a big chest or cleavage or have a big butt. But once I started to embrace myself and started to love myself, which I am still working on every day, I find myself happier. I find myself walking with more confidence, walking, smiling, and just being okay with being Tam and not worrying about what men, women, or society has to say about me.
You know what I personally think makes me beautiful is my willingness to grow. Like, I'm never complacent with where I am. Like, I'm always willing to take on new projects. I'm always willing to learn more. I'm always willing to just expand beyond and go above and beyond where I currently am. Like, I don't mind stretching, you know, and reaching for something higher. So I feel like, you know, there's so much to be gained. There's so much to be learned. There's so much of an unknown, you know, and I feel like my openness to not be complacent in one place and to grow, you know, I think growth makes me beautiful, and my willingness to grow.
So goals for myself really went out the window when I became a mom, and they've changed a lot. I think that now my goal really is to be the best mom that I can be. I realize that I probably will never be rich. I probably will never cure cancer and end world hunger or anything like that. But if I can at least raise my daughters to be decent human beings, you know, one child at a time can really change that eventually, hopefully, so that they can live in a better world.
If I have to tell you what I'm most proud of about myself, as far as, you know, characteristics wise, I'm really proud of the fact that I'm highly ambitious, but also resilient when faced with adversity, which we all are. I can get knocked down, but every morning when I wake up is a new day to win and to achieve my goals and to get it and to be a beast, whether it's in my profession where I spend a lot of time or anything else. And so I guess my best quality, and I think the thing that will make me, you know, the best employee, the best wife, mother, friend, is the fact that I wake up every day excited about getting going and what it is that I can accomplish.
I think the biggest thing that I've noticed once I've gotten older, I've always been able to keep being compassionate towards everyone. Doesn't matter who you are or anything, or how long I've seen you. If you need help and I see it, I'm there. I usually always see myself with people that need me in dire need of someone, and I don't ever want someone to feel like they're left behind. And so I think that's one of the things that I've always seen come up, that I cannot sleep at night without knowing I can help that person, and if I can, then I will. So being compassionate, being generous as much as I can, just being there for someone, because I mean, God knows there's a lot of people out there that need someone. So.
I received a letter from a girl, and I'd like to share just a small part of it with you. Dear Lupita, it reads, I think you're really lucky to be this black, but yet this successful in Hollywood overnight. I was just about to buy Dentsure's Whitenicious cream to lighten my skin when you appeared on the world map and saved me. My heart bled a little when I read those words. I could never have guessed that my first job out of school would be so powerful in and of itself, and that it would propel me to be such an image of hope in the same way that the women of The Color Purple were to me. I remember a time when I too felt unbeautiful. I put on the TV and only saw pale skin. I got teased and taunted about my night-shaded skin. And my one prayer to God, the miracle worker, was that I would wake up lighter-skinned. The morning would come and I would be so excited about seeing my new skin that I would refuse to look down at myself until I was in front of a mirror because I wanted to see my fair face first. And every day I experienced the same disappointment of being just as dark as I had been the day before. I tried to negotiate with God. I told him I would stop stealing sugar cubes at night if he gave me what I wanted. I would listen to my mother's every word, sitting right there, and never lose my school sweater again if he just made me a little lighter. But I guess God was unimpressed with my bargaining chips because he never listened. And when I was a teenager, my self-hate grew worse. As you can imagine, happens with adolescence. My mother reminded me often that she thought I was beautiful. But that was no consolation. She's my mother. Of course she's supposed to think I'm beautiful. And then Alec Weck came on the international scene. A celebrated model. She was dark as night. She was on all the runways and in every magazine, and everyone was talking about how beautiful she was. Even Oprah called her beautiful. And that made it a fact. I couldn't believe that people were embracing a woman who looked so much like me as beautiful. My complexion had always been an obstacle to overcome, and all of a sudden, Oprah was telling me it wasn't. It was perplexing, and I wanted to reject it because I had begun to enjoy the seduction of inadequacy. But a flower couldn't help but bloom inside me. When I saw Alec, I inadvertently saw a reflection of myself that I could not deny. Now, I had a spring in my step because I felt more seen, more appreciated by the faraway gatekeepers of beauty. But around me, the preference for light skin prevailed. To the beholders that I thought mattered, I was still unbeautiful. And my mother again would say to me, "You can't eat beauty. It doesn't feed you." And these words played and bothered me. I didn't really understand them until finally I realized that beauty was not a thing that I could acquire or consume. It was something that I just had to be. And what my mother meant when she said, "You can't eat beauty," was that you can't rely on how you look to sustain you. What actually sustains us, what is fundamentally beautiful, is compassion for yourself and for those around you. That kind of beauty, excuse me, that kind of beauty inflames the heart and enchants the soul. It is what got Patsy in so much trouble with her master, but it is also what has kept her story alive to this day. We remember the beauty of her spirit, even after the beauty of her body has faded away. And so, I hope that my presence on your screens and in magazines may lead you, young girl, on a similar journey. That you will feel the validation of your external beauty, but also get to the deeper business of being beautiful inside. That, there is no shade in that beauty. Thank you.